I want to do a little moto vlog today about, I'm going to call this moto vlog Proceed with Caution. What am I talking about? Am I talking about, riding a motorcycle? We always proceed with caution. That's not what I'm talking about. I want to talk a little bit about the allure of riding off-road. Because as you know, if you follow the channel, you know I was going to buy myself a different bike, an additional bike for my 70th birthday. And give it a lot of thought. I thought maybe I wanted what they call an adventure bike. And I've watched a lot of videos. I've watched Dork in the Road. I've watched my friend OSJ. You should check out his channel. He's got a lot of good off-road videos on there. He also gave me a T-shirt. Jim took the trouble to go out and kind of develop a route that he calls the Piccadilly Pineapple Trail, and it's basically Massachusetts off-roading, and went to a lot of trouble to do it. Really nice stuff, and I've been toying with the idea of an adventure bike for a year, 2 years now, just watching his stuff and stuff of other people, and it looks, I don't know, I can't explain it. There's this kind of allure to riding off-road, dirt roads, and I think probably graded dirt roads might be some fun, but it never sticks to graded. You get on a graded dirt road, and invariably, the stuff that I've watched is it gets into what these guys are calling technical stuff, and then you start looking at adventure bikes. And I'm going to draw a distinction here, which, maybe is not accepted in the off-roading community, but I realize that I have 6 adventure bikes in my garage. Now, none of them are BMW GSs or Triumph Tigers, but they've all taken me on epic adventures. So I consider each and every one of them, I consider this Intruder one of my adventure bikes. Took me on a wonderful adventure down to North Carolina and the Tail of the Dragon, 2,600-mile adventure that I did over a course of 6 days. Now, I looked up adventure in the dictionary, and I will read that to you here. I could paraphrase what the definition of adventure is, but there are basically 3 different definitions to adventure, and one of them, or 2 of them, entail danger, and one of them doesn't. And for the one that doesn't, that's the kind of adventures that I've done. I've ridden cross-country 3 times. I've gone to amazing places, and I've seen amazing things, and I consider all of that an adventure. Now, here's where I draw the distinction. I realized that I was not looking for an adventure bike because I had plenty of those. What I was looking for was an ADV bike. Now, I know that the ADV is short for adventure, but I'm going to draw a distinction here between an adventure bike, which is pretty much any motorcycle. Any motorcycle can take you on an adventure. But an ADV bike is the kind of bike that entails danger. It's the bike that you're going to ride someplace that entails danger. I guess that's the way to put it, maybe. And listen guys, I'm just shooting from the hip right now. I hope I can make something of this video, but there may be no rhyme or reason to this. Or maybe you can't follow my thinking on this. Now, then I started to take a look at break even ADV down, because ADV is an ADV bike. I think, in my mind, is like one of those, is a GS, a BMW GS, or it's a Triumph Tiger or a KTM. And those are adventure bikes, and they'll take me on. They're the kind of bikes that people use generally 80% of the time to take them on adventures that I could do on this bike. So then the next breakdown is, well, it's not really an ADV bike, it's a dual sport. And that's what I was thinking about buying, was a dual sport. Something that would take me off-road, that was light enough for me to handle the, because, you know, most of the people who start out with an ADV bike, a GS, most of them, if they're doing any amount of riding off-road, if 80 or 90% of their riding isn't on the tarmac, and they're going off-road a lot on dirt, most of them end up, that's what they use for touring, for doing the touring kind of adventures. But when it comes to getting off-road, and I'm talking, you know, logging roads and stuff like that, pretty much all of them, if they're serious about it, end up going to a smaller bike, like a Honda, what is it, CRF 300, or even a CT 125, two bikes that my friend Jim has, or a KTM 390, or a KLX 300, whatever it is, but they're mostly smaller displacement, lighter weight, lower horsepower motorcycles that enable them to handle the off-road stuff. So that's what I really kind of decided, you know, maybe that's what I'm looking for. Excuse me. Now here's where the proceed with caution comes in. I'm 70 years old. I became totally crippled over the course of 17 years, and I was lucky to get my mobility back in 2017. I don't want to fall. And, you know, that kind of ADV, or dual sport, I should say, that kind of dual sport riding, which is really kind of where I ended up in thinking about all of this stuff. You know, I was thinking about buying a little 250cc or 300cc bike that I could take on logging roads, or what do they call it, dual track, or even single track, and I started to really think about that, and I decided that I really couldn't afford at my age to start breaking stuff. And I'm not talking about bike parts. I'm talking about body parts. I don't think that I would heal as fast as a 20, 30, or even 40-year-old. And it's not hard to get hurt when you're doing that kind of dual sport riding off-road dirt. It's just not hard. You hit a slick spot in mud, or you hit a rock the wrong way, or I watched a video of my friend OSJ doing a very difficult climb up a hill. When he got up to the top, he kind of let his guard down, and his back tire slipped out on a wet tree root. And I realized that when I say proceed with caution, I need to proceed with caution. And I hate to say this, as an old man, as a 70-year-old man, I need to proceed with caution. And I found that I was getting caught up in the allure, the romance of getting on a bike and going out in the woods and kind of doing all of these trails. And I realized that maybe that's not something that I should be considering. I have no experience. Well, I won't say I have no experience. We've all gotten lost and ended up on a dirt road when we didn't expect it. But there's a difference between that and going out looking for that kind of trouble. And I just don't know that I'm in kind of the age category or physical category where I can afford to do that. So I'm proceeding with caution. I'm trying to think this thing out. Should I be doing that? Do I want to do that? Is it safe for me to do that? I thought about going down to the BMW Riding Academy and learning something about, because I have no practical experience other than mistakes I've made. But I started thinking, should I go down there and take a rider's course in riding on dirt roads and whatnot? And I realized you're still going to fall down there. Now, the only advantage to going down and doing that in a riding academy is there's an ambulance available close by, But as far as getting caught up in the allure of it and the danger that's involved, there's really no difference in doing that. Yeah, you can get instruction, but part of learning something is making mistakes. And those mistakes can end up in some serious injuries, or not serious injuries, but do I want any injuries at this point in my life? Then I started to think about it, and I decided, you know what? I probably don't. So I've been proceeding with caution about that whole genre or category, I should say, of riding, and whether or not a guy at my age should be contemplating that. Now, I watched Jarvis Biker up in Canada. He just bought a 650 V-Strom, which is one of the bikes that I was considering. I also watch a guy, Spider Wayne. He's got a Can-Am Spider, and he just went out and bought himself a CF Moto Adventura 650. Nice bike. Another bike that I was considering. But I was considering those bikes for riding dirt. And I would venture a guess that both of those guys will end up riding those adventure bikes 80 to 90% on pavement. And for that, I'm fully equipped. I've got this, which is a hoot to ride. I've got my Goldwing. I've got my Voyager. I'll be having my Katana pretty soon. And we've got the Magna. I'll be getting rid of the Bandit. But I'm pretty well equipped with those kinds of what I call adventure bikes. I've got plenty of bikes to take me on road adventures. The off-road stuff, or the ADV stuff, the dual sport stuff, you really kind of need a dual sport bike. And all of that kind of riding involves a danger that I'm pretty sure that I don't want to assume at this age. Now, I have to tell you that saying that is just saying those words. I don't want to do that at my age. I don't know. I say it begrudgingly because I don't know of any man that wants to acknowledge his age. Who wants to say I'm too old to do this or I'm too old to do that? It really kind of it kind of almost, as a man, it hurts your soul to have to admit that you're at that point in your life where you have to start thinking in those terms. But here I am, 70 years old, and I'm blessed. I mean, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape, or feel pretty good. I'm not in good shape, but I feel pretty well for a man 70 years old, and I really kind of don't want to ruin that. So that's why the proceed with caution. I think it's, as I say, I don't like saying it. For a guy my age, I have to be cautious about the kind of riding that I'm choosing to do these days. I'll still get on a bike and ride it fast and go from here to Washington State, but I'm not going to do it on the Trans-America Trail. As much as I would like to say I'm going to, as much as I would like to have had that experience in my life, I've got a 17-year gap where would have been it would have been the prime time to do that. Unfortunately, I had that taken away from me. There's nothing I can do about it. It's gone. I'll never get it back. And at this point, you know, there are just things in my life where I have to proceed with caution. And I think the whole dual sport, ADV, I'm going to cancel out the ADV. I'm not even going to call it ADV because, as I said, to me, ADV is one of those big touring bikes that masquerades as an off-road bike. I'm going to say the dual sport stuff. I've got the stuff to do. I don't need an ADV bike to do adventures. I've got plenty of bikes that I can do adventures on. But the ADV stuff, the off-road stuff, you know, I still feel that allure, the romanticism of doing that. But listen, guys, if age has taught me one thing, it's to be realistic. You know, you have to be realistic about things. And some of us learn that too late in life. I don't know that I've learned it too late in life. I've managed to keep myself pretty safe. But you know, it's risk and reward, and I just don't think at this point in my life, which is just this point in my life, just a nicer way of me wrapping my head around. I'm too old, but at this point in my life, I just don't think that the risk is worth the reward. If I had started riding off-road when I was in my 20s or 30s, I think that you know, that kind of experience carries forward, and then you can rely on that when you're older. I know that a lot of guys, listen, I know a lot of guys won't start riding a motorcycle at 70 years old because the risk and the reward deal it's not worth it. But I started riding early enough in life where those skills have carried over. They're probably not as sharp as they were. You know, I would have to admit to that. My eyesight isn't what it used to be. My night vision is crap right now. So, you know, I still have had to make adjustments even in road riding. I just don't ride at night. If at all possible, I don't ride at night just because those adjustments that I've had to make. But honestly, I think the whole dual sport off-road riding thing is just something that I'd like to think about, but really should consider.
Everybody's enjoying the day today. March 3rd, Sunday, March 3rd. Nice little country church right there. A little break here at the New Boston General Store. Some peanuts and a seltzer. Life is good.
So, getting back to my vlog about proceed with caution, what do you guys think? You guys in your later years of life, are you willing to bite off taking the risk of riding on off-road? Is that something that interests you but you're not doing, or is it something that interests you and you are doing? I just don't know that that's something that I want to take up right now in my life. I love riding on the road. You know, the other thing is, I have to tell you that I've watched a lot of videos of guys riding off-road, and even the guys with experience, a lot of the time, it seems like a struggle. You're fighting your bike, you're fighting the road, and I guess it must, well, when you successfully navigate something that's difficult, it must give you some sense of satisfaction. But it always looks like a bit of, not always, but in a large percentage of the time, at least the stuff that I watch, it looks like a struggle. I hear guys grunting and kind of protesting, woo, wow, just missed that, oh my God, you know, that kind of thing. And I guess I want my riding at this point to, no, I don't want my riding to be a struggle or a challenge. The biggest challenge that I want is, can I ride 12 hours a day? Can I make 500, 600, 700 miles in a day? That's as much of a struggle, I guess, as I want. So, you know, I think, ooh, somebody's smoking pot around here. So anyway, I guess part of it is, even though it looks romantic to do that, it also doesn't look sometimes very pleasurable. You know, I used to ride my motorcycles fast, and I would ride with my heart in my throat. You know, just the adrenaline and the fear of coming close to, or feeling like at some points I was close to death, and I had that same feeling of accomplishment to know that I had faced that and gotten through it and accomplished it, came out unscathed. But again, I don't know that that's something that I'm looking for at this stage of my life, translated at 70 years old. So I guess, I don't know. I get to see a lot of nice stuff by riding the pavement. You know, going out to Wyoming and Idaho and Washington, and, you know, the whole Colorado, and I get to see a lot of nice stuff, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy my time on the pavement. And little of it nowadays is filled with any kind of fear or struggle or challenge. It's just pleasurable. And I guess that's why I say proceed with caution. I have proceeded with caution. And I've really kind of done some soul searching and asked myself, is this something that I want to add to my life at this point? Struggle, challenge, or do I just want to enjoy the rest of my life and have pleasurable experiences without injury? And you know, you can get injured riding on the road, riding on the pavement. I understand that. But when I've got over 50 years of experience doing this. Just like that, somebody can pull right out in front of you. But I've got 50 years, and I kind of know the things to look for, and I just don't think there were as many surprises for me on the road as there would be a whole new experience on dirt, off-road. I'm enjoying what I'm thankful. I'm so thankful that I could do this again, ride a motorcycle again. I really kind of, I think I've decided that this is good enough for me. And I think just the fact that I can ride you know, like I did in 2022 and 2018, and I can ride for, you know, months on a motorcycle and experience all of that. At this point, I think it's a gift. It's a gift. And I don't want to do anything to ruin that. So, ADV bike, out. Dual sport bike, out. So, since I have touring bikes, and I have cruisers, and I have a sport touring bike, what's left to buy? There's got to be something left to buy. What do I buy? What do I buy, guys? Or do I buy anything? I'd still like to buy something. Never had a sidecar. Never had a trike. Not doing either of those. I don't think. I don't see either of those things in my future. Time will tell.